Cassie is with us in Massachusetts. Hi, Cassie. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi.
What's up?
Hi, Dave. How are you?
Good. How can we help?
So we got a little predicament here between me and my husband. So about 9 months ago or so, we moved in with my mother-in-law to save money. She offered for us to stay in her basement for much less than we were spending on rent, and we had already downsized. The biggest issue is that we've found that she's extremely difficult to live with. And my husband's not super great at communication when it comes to finances. So I feel really, really stuck because he won't really give me, this is how much we want to save to get out. There's just really a big lack of communication there when it comes to
what do you make income
money.
And what does he make income?
So I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have two little ones under 2, and he makes about $60K gross.
Why don't you just move out?
That's a good question. I ask him that all the time.
You're asking in a way that he's... why isn't he hearing that question?
Well, we're in baby step 2, and we have about $10K in student loan and between the student loan and medical debt.
Those things are stopping up his ears?
Yeah, yeah.
Apparently.
There's the money side. Why isn't he answering that question?
I don't know.
Are you asking the question when you're in
I think he wants to...
Are you asking the question when you're in a fight or when you're frustrated, or are y'all having breakfast together and you just say, hey, man, what's the plan? Like, why isn't he answering this question?
I've asked him many, many times, and recently it's blown up into like a fight about it, and now he just doesn't want to talk about it at all. And we have, had some conversations about it, but it doesn't really go anywhere. I think where he's at is he kind of wants to be out of debt, wants to have a certain amount down for a house before we move, which makes sense. But I think living here is really, really stressful as well. So there's like a big toss up.
Is it more stressful for you because you're staying at home and you're the one having to deal with it?
Yeah, I think so.
And so,
for sure.
Dave, you've answered this question for 150 years on this show. I can't help. That was a little bit of a boomer joke there. I can't help but think that your husband's not understanding, not hearing you, and you're not aligned with when it comes to values. Right? He doesn't understand the pain that you're sitting in, and doesn't understand the emotional cost. You got to move. You got to get out of the house.
Yeah. I feel that in my core. I really, really feel it in my core. We did take financial peace this past November after we moved in here, and we were like, yes, we're doing the right thing. We moved to save money. We're living
financial
like no one else.
Financial peace never told you to move into your toxic
else.
mother-in-law's basement, not one time.
Right.
No, but we thought that, moving, it gave us the amount of space that we needed for 2 kids because I was pregnant with our second, and we did not have space at the current place that we were at. And we were like, oh, well, this is great. We'll save money for a house. But now it's to the point where I don't think it's worth it anymore. Mm-hmm. And he's like, but we're still in baby step 2.
That's great. But you're at a sunk cost. You tried something. You went for it. It seemed like a cool idea. It sounded great on the back of a napkin. And now your marriage is suffering for it. And your trust in each other is suffering for it. Your 2 kids are absorbing your attention. They're absorbing y'all's dysfunction, and you got to move.
Okay.
And
awesome.
You have to speak to him. The only person in this you can control is you, and you have to speak to him in a way that he can hear it. And waiting till there's a fight, or you say I keep bringing it up and bringing it up. The other side of that word, the negative word there is nagging. And nagging somebody never gets what you want. And so you've got to find a place, whether it's getting off site, whether it's leaving the kids with mother-in-law and going somewhere and sitting down and saying, it's not an if, it's when we move, and I'm about to put a date on a calendar to get my kids out of this thing, and I want you to be a part of this with us, and we've got to come up with a date together. and we've got to work on this together. That's the foundation of FPU, is together decision making. And for whatever reason, he's not hearing it.
Yeah. So if your marriage or his emotional capacity does not allow him to hear you when you don't have children in the room, they're asleep. You're used to the white noise of toddlers, but most people can't concentrate with that crap. So they're asleep. And you take his two hands and your two hands and you look in his eyes and you say, listen to me carefully. I can't stay here anymore. I'm leaving. So I think we ought to leave. This is not okay anymore. And if he can't hear you when you do that, and you haven't cut through all the clutter of everything, because we've talked about this before, guys don't get subtlety. You have to be very direct. Look directly into his eyes. He has to hear you with no emotion, no side crap, and you go, I'm done. I'm done. I love your mom, but I can't stay here anymore. And I know we had a goal of trying to do this, but it's not working. This is driving me crazy. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 12. The fire alarms are going off.
Yes.
The fire alarms are going off. And if you can't hear me, we're going to have to sit down with the pastor and begin marriage counseling, because I am leaving this place. And he has to hear that. And if he can't hear that, then you got a pretty dull dude, and you got some other issues.
You've got other issues in your marriage.
Yeah, there's other stuff going on. And so you guys will need to sit down and to begin some marriage counseling to save your marriage, because you got other stuff that this is just the symptom then. If this is the real problem, then you transfer and you go, it has nothing to do with baby step 2. You can do baby step 2 anywhere. It's just a matter of how fast it works. That's all.
And I want to honor the guy who's saying, okay, we've got this plan. We're going to get out of debt. Here's the map. Here's the date. Here's the analytics. Here's the whatever frontal lobe nonsense. But guys, when you do that, man, you burn up people's souls.
Well, I mean, you can run like that as long as she's running with you.
That's what I mean.
But this is a situation where she's not running with you anymore, and it's because the mother-in-law hijacked your plan. And
it was a cute idea. It was cool.
It was a good idea as long as she was cute, but she ain't cute. So, I mean, it just doesn't work anymore. And not many people can do that, by the way.
No, that's hard.
Not many people can do that, particularly in Anglo households. Hispanics are much better at it.
Yeah.
They're much more family.
They love each other.
I don't know how they deal with it, but they do a better job. That culture does a lot better job with it. But it's much more standard, so to speak. But Anglos, man, we don't go back home well. We just don't.
We don't let go well.
Well, and then there's mom. Yeah, good Lord, we've been picking on mom all day today. But anyway,
my mom's awesome.
Yeah, well, so there you go. That's how that works. And so are your friends and whatever else. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. Yeah, you're just that guy. But yeah, I think it's the thing is this: you can pay a price, and you could even put up with her. As long as you can see the end of it.
You gotta have a finish line.
You gotta have a finish line, and it's got to be before my emotional tank is completely dry.
That's right.
The little thing on the dashboard's reading I got 46 miles left before I'm out of gas.
And it's blinking at you.
And the thing says 30 miles. Okay, I think we're going to make it. But if it says 300 miles, screw it. We're going to be out of gas.
Or almost worse, when you don't know how far you're going.
Yeah, that's worse.
Remember the football coach that you'd say, how long are we going to run? He'd say, until I get tired of watching you.
Until I get tired of watching you.
I'd rather know we're going to run 100.
Until you throw up a lot.
That's right.
Yeah, that guy.
Put a deadline. If you're going to do something crazy like live in mom's basement.
You can put up with a lot of pain if you know when it's going to be over.
Put a deadline on there. That's right.
This is going to take about 30 seconds. Hold your breath and bite through a pillow. Okay, got that. So, it's just, you can do this. But you got to have a deadline, and you guys got to be willing to work together. Your tune might change if you knew it was going to be 2 months. But when it feels like it might be 2 years.
Or who knows?